And tonight on our Great American panel, he was Bill Bradley's deputy campaign manager. Fox News contributor Jacques DeGraff is back. She, a former speechwriter for Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. National Review columnist Elise Jordan is also with us. And he is one of those nutty, crazy Fox News red-eye guys. Andy Levy's here. Did I say your right name?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. I don't even know how to say your name. I watch you guys all the time.
You got it right.
No, I love when you sit in the newsroom and I'm watching you do the news straight.
Right.
And I laugh. Because Gutfeld is...
I'm not doing the news.
You don't have to sit in the leg chair.
I'm just correcting the idiot's mistakes on our show.
There's not idiots. You had the highest ratings your show's ever had. Congratulations.
No, I mean the regulars, not the guests. Yeah. The guests are brilliant.
All right. Well, first of all, John Lennon is was a Ronald Reagan fan, according to his personal assistants the year before he died. I was like, I'm giving peace a chance. Peace through strength.
We had Seth Swirsky is the guy who directed that movie. We had him on Red Eye a couple weeks ago, and he told us this story. We couldn't believe it. But he also pointed out that the Beatles are the ones that did the song Taxman, which has the lyric 95 for you, 5 for us, and is really the main reason they left England is because they got tired of high taxes. So I guess it's not that out of the realm of possibility. He also did say, take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, that John liked to tweak people.
Well, you too got into some issues over taxes, and from what I read, John Bon Jovi, who I like and think is very talented, that he has a big farm. So, you know, I guess he's a farmer, so he gets his big tax deduction, property tax deduction in New Jersey. So what do you think of Lennon?
Oh, what do I think? I think that Jimmy Carter could turn anybody into a Republican. But I don't know how credible I think the whole report is. It seems a little bit far-fetched, but
really, why?
You know, all of this when people surface, you know, years later saying, oh, they had this conversion on their deathbed.
Well, it's like Winston Churchill. If you're 20 and not a liberal, you don't have a heart. If you're 40 and conservative, you don't have a brain. How old are you, Jacques?
Past 40.
I'm just teasing you. Any comment on that?
I enjoy John Lennon's music, and I'll remember him in that way.
All right, fair enough. We were dealing a lot with Michelle Bachmann and the vicious, vitriolic attacks against her. You know, the president today didn't know the age of his own daughter. And God forbid if that was a conservative that made that mistake about their children. Oh, does George Bush need a calculator to figure this out? Anyway, so it's gotten really bad. It's gotten this bad. Listen to Thrill Up Your Leg, Chris Matthews attacking Michelle Bachmann.
We have to recapture the founders' vision of a constitutionally conservative government if we are to secure the promise for the future.
What is this, Michael, the Protestant Reformation? That somehow we're going back to the purity of the original Christian church.
Well, no,
we're going back to the original perfection of slaveholders and how perfect they were. And government is the enemy. She speaks pure Tea Party lingo.
Is he that enamored? Is his head so... Well, I better stop. Is his head so far close to President Obama? Jacques, come on.
I don't think I'm going to disregard the Obama extent of their relationship to say that the water has become poisoned because of things like Donald Trump's campaign.
What's wrong with Donald Trump's campaign? Donald
Trump's campaign was centered on the birther issue and the noxious notion that Barack Obama wasn't an American. It was an offensive campaign.
He never said that. He said, just show me the document.
He said he had his people go to Hawaii and that they had documents and evidence that the president of the United States
that's not what he said. He said it was peculiar that he won't release it.
He said, show me the evidence because I don't believe that he's an American.
Well, everybody could...
He was elected the president of the United States.
It was so obnoxious.
You didn't like it either.
No, I could not stand it. I found it appalling, and I'm glad that Donald...
Why is it so appalling? I don't get it.
Because it was about race. And I mean, at its core, it was...
Where did you get that about race?
At its core, it was about race.
No, I think it was about he doesn't like Obama's policies, and every one of us and everybody watching the show, if you say, can I have your birth certificate, can go get it.
But how do you go from not liking somebody's policies to suddenly saying, hey, maybe you weren't born here? There's a disconnect there. And I think Trump, all of a sudden, he was going from attacking Obama on policies, talking about China, and then it's like the next day he woke up and decided, oh, I'm going to be a birther.
Well, no, it never was my issue, but I think after a while it was odd. He just could have released it in the beginning and wouldn't have been a question.
But Sean, as I think all of us are saying, it tapped into something beyond public policy dispute. And the legacy of that is the toxic environment that Michelle Bachmann now finds herself.
But I don't think you blame Michelle Bachmann for something.
No. Michelle Bachmann didn't know the age of her children. She had 23 foster children. Boy, she'd be another right-wing, amiable dunce,
because he didn't
as they call
state
it.
the age of his children correctly doesn't mean he didn't know that age.
She did. I mean, you know, she confused John. She said John Quincy Adams was a founding father. Really, if you think about it, he was a founding son. So it's a bit of a mistake there.
It's all stretching from.
But no, and you're right. And Obama never gets hit on these things.
Do you think Obama knew what a corpsman was when he read 3 times corpsman? I don't think he knew what a corpsman was.
I don't mind them going after Michelle Bachmann if she makes mistakes. If they would go after President Obama for making mistakes.
That's a really. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think that Joe Biden gets a huge pass also. But with Michelle Bachmann, I think that she is getting the scrutiny from going into the spotlight also. Just like I felt like Newt Gingrich got a ton
of
the same. Exactly.
And they asked one question about Bill Ayers. I will never give up on that. Don't ever ask me. Don't write me. I'm staying on it because it was one of the great injustices to all the American people in the last campaign. Or the Great American Panel next. All right, we continue with our Great American Panel. All right, let's go to this. The more bias against conservative women. Listen to this comment from a Politico reporter about Governor Palin and how the mainstream media views her.
You guys talk about her a lot. We write about her a lot. Yet if you talk to any single reporter at any media organization that we're aware of, I don't think anyone thinks she can be president or should be president, yet she gets a ton of coverage. And I think that the emails really captured that moment.
You know, this is amazing to me. Why did they feel, what experience did Barack Obama have except voting president? He basically started running the day he became a senator, and he hung out with radicals, and he worked with Acorn. What experience did he have?
Sean, that's not fair. He was a community organizer.
Same thing.
You're saying that's not good experience to be a president?
Iran is a tiny country. Let me read my teleprompter. Navy corpsman. Navy corpsman. Now, if he misspoke once, I'd get it, but I don't think he knew what a corpsman is, Jacques.
He knew enough to get Osama bin Laden.
No, actually,
as the commander-in-chief,
he did the right thing.
It was on his watch that we got Osama bin Laden.
But if his policies were in place, we never would have gotten the intelligence.
It's on his watch. You got to give him credit for that.
I give him credit for giving the order.
Okay.
That has not been, the whole intelligence debate still is to be had on whether the information elicited actually, if it was under distress, and if that's what led to
black sites, interrogations, enhanced interrogations, and Gitmo. Remember, we got the word that the courier was close to bin Laden. We got the nickname. The nickname led to the real name. The real name led to the guy.
But we still don't know what techniques were exactly used, because the best information usually does not come from torture. It comes from long-term sustained manipulation.
I don't think the United States tortured. You work for Condoleezza Rice. Do you think she supported torture?
No, I'm saying enhanced intelligence techniques.
All right, wait a minute. We used enhanced interrogation techniques. Do you think the techniques used in the Bush years were torture?
No. I would say...
I think you're sticking up for your old boss right now.
I would say enhanced, intelligence techniques, but, they've said that they were only used on very few occasions.
What does this thing say, though, about the media and their arrogant, condescending, liberal attitude towards Sarah Palin?
No, and which absolutely exists, and we're seeing it with Michelle Bachmann now, too. And I saw earlier tonight, I can't remember exactly, but I think it might have even been Nancy Pelosi's chief of staff came out and said that she thinks there's a whiff of sexism involved in the way Michelle Bachmann is being treated. If you're starting to see it from some women on the left, I mean, it doesn't get any clearer than that it's there.
It seems to me, I think that's we're beginning to see, it's certainly a bias, especially against female conservative politicians.
No. I believe in the sexism part of it, but Hillary Clinton experienced sexism.
Give me
when
something
she ran.
similar.
Elizabeth Dole experienced sexism. Condoleezza Rice had to experience sexism in her stint in public service. Sexism is a fact of life in American media. I don't support it, but I'm saying you don't have the luxury of it's sexism for conservative women. It's sexism, period.
I agree with you, but I think there's also a notion that some, the mainstream media and others, they look at people like, they look at women conservatives and think to themselves, well, you're not supposed to be conservatives. There's something wrong with you. And so it goes a step further than the sexism that I agree is there for all women in politics.
I would posit this. I think that the conservative the distinction in the women that you've named is that they punch back. They call out the media while others endure it. And I think
plenty of women who have had the intellectual heft have not endured the same scrutiny, and they haven't had, the same lens as Michelle Bachmann. I do think that a lot of the reason she gets this attention is because some of her arguments do not seem to be followed to the logical conclusion.
Let me ask you this.
And the level of critical thinking sometimes seems to be, her world seems fairly closed.
You don't like Michelle Bachmann? Listen, I think...
I respect Michelle Bachmann,
she's got a lot of guts, just like Sarah Palin. She has a lot of guts, and I want a constitutional conservative, and I think this notion that you can compare it to slavery. Let me ask you this. Do you think, we brought up in 2008, the question was, can an African-American be elected president? We answered that question as a country. Can a woman be elected president? We're running out of time.
Absolutely.
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 Yeah. Michelle Bachmann could beat Barack Obama then. Thank you, Jacques DeGraff. Appreciate you being with us.
Hold your breath on it. Hold your breath.
All right. Thank you all. Great panel. Good to see you. And that's all the time we have left. And thank you for being with us. Let not your heart be troubled. The news continues. Greta is coming up next as she goes on the record. We'll see you tomorrow night.